This is the largest allowable horizontal pixel gap in the game, which is not that good for hide and loot because you can see stuff behind it, but it's really good to have a pixel gap peek because even though they could shoot your TC out of it, you could also shoot them pretty easily. Obviously, it's going to be a lot easier with something like a bolt or something not as violently needing to be controlled like an AK, especially when you're right up next to it. But you could also put it in a circle base like this and have a 360 pixel gap peek and just terrorize some people from inside of your base. And they obviously can shoot through your gap if they somehow get an exact lineup on you, which is going to be a lot easier with the scope or something like that, but you could just keep moving. And it's very nice and very easy. The largest allowable horizontal pixel gap in the game that does allow you to not have unbroken foundations. So you could put one in here. Doesn't matter. We have the raised foundation right here and everything is connectable in blue. So you don't need to do anything. And it looks like we're both built off the raised on one. But if you look right here, there's the gap. That chunk right there, and it's very nice and very easy. You can make whatever circle base you want. I did put it in one of those 4x3 2x1 box bases, which is pretty dirty, but you don't get any invalids, and it's very nice because if you look right here, and if you're over here, there's absolutely nothing you could do. Again, it's very nice and very easy. It's super easy to build. We're going to start out with a twig 2x1. We'll go ahead and do it in the circle base as well as maybe like another footprint or something. But we do need a bear rug and a pressure pad. Distance between the pressure pad and the bear rug is going to give you the perfect largest horizontal pixel gap with continuous foundations, however you want to call it. And we're going to start on the pressure pad just because you'll always land on the bear rug, whereas if you start too far on the bear rug, you don't know if you're going to land on the pressure pad. You're just going to crouch on the pressure pad, building plan triangle foundation, and you're going to hold alt, move off of that pressure pad and up against the bear rug. And as you can see, you'll be blue in here because the height difference is not that bad because they're both taller than being flat. And if you go like this, the pressure pad is slightly higher. And you don't need to do that, but that's just to test it. And if you build over here off of the high from the pressure pad, the high foundation, okay, place over here, and put a wall up there, and then you put a wall down there. And you have a nice large pixel gap. And if you use a jungle shelf all the way at the bottom of the foundation, you have a really nice gap. And the only thing is it doesn't work with shipping container. The shipping container is like, if I shoot it, I'm not going to be able to upgrade it, but there's like a hitbox is bigger or something, but it does work with the other grades. And now I can't upgrade that because it took damage. But we're just going to go ahead and start on the low. And if you forget which one, you can just, I'd like to upgrade the high foundation and then start the whole base on the low right here. And then we can just go ahead and do a circle base, whatever we want to do. And then I like to do a jump up just so we can get a second floor so we could have the same sort of pixel gap up here. So you get a nice angle deep down in your terrain. Long angles. Comes up with my mouse sensitivity. Anyway, once you go ahead and do that, you just build a normal circle base because this is all on the low foundation. Comes up with my Logitech, I swear. Anyway, you're just going to go ahead and move this one over here, and then you could upgrade that one. Hatchet that one out just so we could have a continuous foundation. And then when you go ahead and upgrade this piece here, it'll connect and not decay. But we're just going to do half walls on every one of these. And it's the server that's going crazy lagging, of course. And we're just going to do a half wall on the bottom here because this is our low foundation on everywhere but where we want our front door. So we're just going to put the front door over here. And then once we have that, we're just gonna float a floor over like this, because this is our high foundation. And then we're gonna spam floors all here. And since it provides stability, you could just continuously floating over, continuously float them over. I don't know what's going on with my mouse, but once you have that, you could just go ahead and upgrade these top half walls. And not upgrade those to HQM and just demolish these. And as you can see, you have a bunch of pixel gaps right here, 360. And you can put a jungle shelf on the triangles. You could just do the jungle shelf everywhere pretty much. Then you could use this for loot. And then when you crouch here, placement for the jungle shelf is pretty much exactly, you can accidentally stick it down in the foundation. You don't want that. You want it just touching the foundation here. And then you have a nice gap. Usually it looks like this one, we're just a bit too high. Oh, because it's brutalist. I don't know why it's snapping, but you should be able to get it like this. There's a huge big gap where you can nicely do everything there. And then we can go ahead and do a ramp right here. Whatever you want to do. You don't need to do the ramps. And when you're done with that, you can float these up over here. And we'll just speed it up slightly. And have our front roof access right here, and then we could do a jump up or something, or a front door right here. We don't need to do another jump up, but we'll just go ahead and do it like this on this floor as well. By floating it up like this. Remember, you could do these low half walls here and they'll give stability, so you could demolish them later to float the floor around. This spot right here, we're just gonna put a low half wall there, snap this off. And I'm double skinning. And now I'm triple skinning. Now we have pixel gaps all up here, so now we could have real long, wide angles. Just to really, it's like roof camping without roof camping. And because no one's gonna know you're gonna be roof camping. But you could just sit in here with the bolt or full spray everybody. And that one's very nice and easy for a complete 360. But another one that it works really great in is like a 4x3. Just because you could have no pixel gap in the core and then make a pixel gap shell. Same thing, it's super easy to build. You do need this exact gap size, so it does may want to start another 2x1 somewhere and then claim your area later. So you're just gonna go ahead and again start on the pressure pad and hold Alt. Move over here. I moved backwards off the pressure pad, that's why I wasn't able to snap it. Just butt it up against there like that. And remember, the bear rug is the low. So we're just gonna go out with a full like 4x3 right here. Make sure you snap this one right here, and now we only have this as our raised triangle. And then we can start our 2x1 right here. Like a chase box or whatever you want to do. And then now, since we have only that one high foundation, we could still float it because it gives stability, so we don't need to do anything. Aside from this spot right here, since it may attach to the high foundation, I usually like to just push this out and hatchet that one out, or just leave it there, it doesn't matter. But now we're guaranteed to be on the low foundation here. So you could just half wall everything like this. It does add upkeep, that's why I wouldn't recommend putting it on the core of a main big base. But if upkeep doesn't matter to you, then you can just go ahead and float over the triangle again, same kind of process. For this one it's a lot easier because I don't have to go back and forth between triangle and square. And you just make sure that every single one has it and you didn't accidentally snap it off the outer wall for the floors. And just like that, you have a crazy Pixelgap shell in one of these style bases. And you could do some really nice stuff with this. We'll just go ahead and kind of maybe do another, let's float this out one more time, hatched it out. I always hatchet stuff out in builds, it's very nice. The temporary thing, and I like to do, you could do a bedroom right here with shooting floor access with the ladder hatch. And then you could spawn in this bedroom when they raid your shell from any other angle, have one on each side, and then here you have this huge gap to just beam people all in your shell. See that? You can get a full spray in there, and then instead of doing Petricos right here, and I just made those twig both somehow. Instead of doing Petricos right here, I just like to do this with this Pixelgap right here. And then you do furnace jump ups here, and that way you could do a Pixelgap peak just right here. And if they're not seeing that, if they're not at the angle and they jump up here, you know how hard that is for them to get you when you're right up next to the gap. And you could just full spray in there. And then not only can you do that, we'll go ahead and do another little bedroom on this side real quick just to make it symmetrical. Not only can you do that, you can actually put them right here as well in this honeycomb and do the same half wall trick right there, so you'd have a locker to reach and boom them in here. Or you could obviously just seal a locker in there, and then when you could crouch and pick it up like this. But this is my favorite thing right here, is having this on the jump up on each side. Just like that, because then it's you could even tap fire and not crouch on the thing from back here. And again, you could do this with the ramp right here, and you can get crazy angles on the whole corner for everybody. Like it's really big. It makes no sense why it's this big and it's still attached. So that's pretty much just an idea of how you could do it. I'm not really planning on, maybe I might do a base with this, but again, it's really incredibly nice and easy how you could just incorporate this. The largest horizontal pixel gap, because if you look right here, and if you're over here, there's absolutely nothing you could do. Again, it's very nice and very easy.